Fire Jamie Dornan confronts Calum Scott, don't use my personal life to get views. Jamie Dornan sat in the VIP room, fingers caressing a glass of whiskey, eyes on the small screen in the corner. On it, Calum Scott was performing his new song, a ballad steeped in narrative, with lyrics that tugged at the listener's heartstrings. There was nothing wrong with the song. But there was something very wrong. I used to be the one behind your lights. I know your eyes for her are not the same anymore, but I kept quiet, because I respect what we had. Jamie narrowed his eyes. From those lyrics, the audience began to whisper. Twitter heated up in just a few minutes. Jamie Dornan's name was tagged with #Calum Scott. Articles of analysis, discussion, speculation spread like wildfire. And Jamie knew, Calum had just done something unforgivable. What should not be seen? Calum's exclusive interview was on the front page of Sound, Voice magazine. In the post, Calum shares that the new song was inspired by a close friendship that was once so deep but eventually fell apart because of distance, silence, and things left unsaid. He doesn't name names, but he doesn't need to. The media does the rest. Jamie Dornan and Calum Scott were best friends. New track accuses Jamie of betraying friends for love. Calum hints at being a third wheel. Jamie throws the magazine down on the table, clutching his phone. He's been silent long enough. But now, silence is no longer respectful. It's being used to attract attention, and that's unacceptable. Tense conversation. London, a rainy night. Jamie calls Calum to his private bar, where they used to hang out before they were famous. Calum arrives, dressed casually, no stylist, no bodyguard. His eyes avoided Jamie's as he sat down. I guess you didn't call me to check on me. Calum began. You know why I called. Jamie pushed the magazine toward Calum. The cover was bright, the song title prominent, behind the silence. I'm not using your name. Calum said evenly. You don't have to. You know people will understand. You know they'll speculate, and you let them. Calum leaned back in his chair, sighing. I write from my heart, Jamie. You can't control what I feel. Jamie slammed his hand on the table. Emotions are no excuse to put someone else's life on TV. The atmosphere in the bar seemed to freeze. I used to trust you. We used to be friends. But now I'm a name you use for PR. Calum looked at him, his eyes dark. I don't need your name to be famous. But I can't stay silent when people keep asking why you and I aren't together anymore. Jamie paused. That statement, so sincere, but still not true. You can say anything. But don't make me a side character in your story, Calum. Calum didn't reply. He stood up, left the bar, leaving Jamie sitting alone in the dim light. Friendship in the media. When Jamie had just finished 50 Shades, he met Calum for the first time at a backstage party at the BBC. A famous actor, a new singer, they thought they had nothing in common, but it was the void in their souls, the fatigue with the media, and the loneliness behind the fame that drew them closer. They traveled together, anonymously, no photos, no social media. They share things no one else knows. Jamie talks about the near depression after being typecast into a role. Calum talks about the fear of being forgotten after a single hit. That friendship doesn't need a camera to survive, but then, one day, Calum falls in love. Someone who used to love Jamie, and everything starts to fall apart from there. Chosen silence. Jamie never blamed Calum for the relationship. Relationships are personal choices. And he respected that. But what he couldn't forgive was when Calum used the relationship as artistic material, openly, vaguely, and full of illusions. Jamie chose to stay silent, not respond to the press, not give interviews, not post any illusions. Because he believes, maturity lies in how you keep things to yourself, until that silence was misunderstood as agreement. The Interface of Truth, a famous British talk show, invited Calum to appear. The host asked directly, "Is the new song about Jamie Dornan?" Calum smiled. "I think those who really understand the story will feel it themselves." That answer officially nodded to all the speculation. Netizens exploded. Headlines: Calum confirms Jamie Dornan inspired new song. Real drama behind the scenes of British showbiz. Friendships fall apart because one person won't keep quiet. Jamie knows it's gone too far. Last night in Dublin, Jamie sends Calum an email. "There's nothing more to say. But I want you to listen to a song I made 2 years ago. When we were friends, it's a stripped-down recording, just guitar, and a single, repeated line. Silence is a way to keep your promises." Calum listens in his apartment, his eyes quiet. For the first time in months, H is not angry, not hurt, just regretful. Not all silence means forgiveness. Jamie wins Best Actress at the European Film Festival. In his speech, he said, "There are people who come into our lives like light, and then leave like the wind. They leave behind shadows, maybe even burns. But the important thing is, what we learn from them. I learned that not all silence is forgiveness. But sometimes, forgiveness begins with stopping talking." The audience applauded, but only one person shed tears backstage.